Dre. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to do my favorite crock-pot chicken tacos. Super simple, super easy, and they are very yummy. So it's very basic. You want to start the night before with your crock-pot. You want to fill it up with some reduced sodium. I prefer to use free-range organic broth, but go ahead and fill up your crock-pot with that. You want to toss in approximately 5 chicken breasts. With this one that I'm showing you today, I use 4. I don't need as much. Obviously, this week it's Christmas, so I don't need to meal prep as much. But this is what the chicken will look like when it comes out of the crock pot. Clearly, it won't be completely shredded, but it's really tender. So all you have to do is I usually just take tongs and you just piece it like this. That's how tender it is. So it's great. With the tacos, with the broth, I usually will just put in some minced garlic. I use garlic for everything. Minced garlic, some chili powder, maybe just a little bit of hot sauce, and a little bit of onion. But that's it. It's really not much. Oh, and some black pepper too. But it's really not much. You're going to be adding a little bit to it, so it'll definitely give it the flavor that it needs. So, what I'm going to start showing you is you want to start off with your chicken. You're going to take it out of the crock pot, put it straight into a bowl, and then make sure that you just shred it up nicely. And then I actually, instead of using water, I take the broth that's left over from the crock pot, and I just put a few spoonfuls of that into the bowl. And I will show you why in just a second. But so I'm just going to take a spoon about this size, and just enough so that it covers it, but you don't want to completely saturate it because you don't want your chicken to be runny. Okay, so I did about 4 scoops there. Okay, so go ahead and just stir that up a little bit. Now, what's great about this, like I said, you can meal prep a few of the things the night before too when you're throwing your chicken in the crock pot. So I already prepped I just chopped up some bell peppers. Today I did, yesterday I did yellow and orange. Dice up some tomatoes, which are great. And then also some chilies, green chilies. Dice those up and throw those in there. And then some red onion. You might prefer white onion. Personally, I love red onions, so that's why I use red, but either one is great. And then on the stove, I have my pan. It's been on medium. I turned it on approximately 5 minutes ago. I absolutely love this stuff, okay? It's a lot better for you than your just typical cooking spray. And I use it for everything. I even use it for lip gloss sometimes. I mean, why not? It's all natural. But I go ahead and I only take about, really, half of a teaspoon is usually enough for what I'm going to be doing today. And you take it, and you just drop it in your pan, and you just want to let it go around, get it all over, just until it's completely covered. Almost like you would if it was butter, but it's not butter, but it's exactly the same concept. Okay, so go ahead and put that back on the stove, and we are just going to turn the heat up just a little bit and put our peppers in here. I prefer to mix the peppers and the onions just because it gives it a really good taste. Just stir it around a little bit. I'll add some black pepper to that. And I'll just let that sit for a second. Now, with the onions and peppers, unlike some recipes that I do, I don't let them sit on the oven for too long. Now, the reason for that being, or on the stove for too long. Reason for that being is just because I don't want them to be too tender, because this is going to be my meal for the next few days. So I will be microwaving it, so I don't want them to get kind of that soggy, gross taste. So I just want them to get a little bit tender, just so that they're not completely crunchy. Even though that tastes good too. Honestly, if you didn't even put them on the stove, they would still taste great. Just nice, fresh, and crunchy. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of stir those around. I usually split it up. So I'll just go ahead and dump this right into that bowl of chicken. And then I don't put more coconut oil on there. I just leave it like this. It's still pretty covered. And then I just put the rest of those peppers and onions. And again, just stir them around. And this, I don't know if I mentioned before, that just needs to be at about a medium heat. You don't want it to be crazy hot or anything. But so far, this is what I have. Okay, so just that shredded chicken, a little bit of that leftover chicken broth, and then half of the onions and peppers that we've already put on the stove. And these other ones will be done in just a moment. So while we're waiting for those, I'm going to go ahead and take my diced tomatoes. I'm going to pour those in. Okay, so just dump those right in on top. And just stir it all up. Stir it up real good. Alright, let's check on the onions and peppers. If you're not quite sure when to tell if they're ready to go into, to be taken off the stove and go into the chicken, just look at the texture of them. You can see the peppers especially will start to kind of curl around the edge, and that means that they're warm enough to the point where they're starting to soften. So that's a good point. Just go ahead and take them right off the stove. And I'm going to add some more pepper to this as well. Not a crazy amount, but just a little bit. Alright, we'll go ahead and put those in here. It smells so good. Okay, so set this aside. Now, I love spicy food. If you're not a fan of spicy food, you might want to skip this part or just add a little bit. Red Hot and I are like BFFs. And ever since they came out with this one, I have been completely obsessed because it's got two of my absolute favorite things in it. So what I'll do is, honestly, a lot of my cooking, I eyeball things. So I'm sorry if that makes it a little bit more difficult for you, but I'll just put on enough. I'll hold it up for you. I just drizzle it on the top here. And I usually start off with less than I think I'll need because obviously if you put too much, you can't take away. If you don't put enough, you can always add more. Hot sauce. I love hot sauce. Same thing with that. I just eyeball it. Now, Red Hot, Frank's, whatever kind of hot sauce that you use, typically I don't think it's very spicy. I don't think it has much of a kick. So this one you don't have to be near as cautious about if you do love heat. But like I said, less is always better because you can always add to it. So just kind of dab that on there. And then I'm going to add just some chili powder. Alright. Again, eyeballing it. I would say it's probably approximately a teaspoon. It's really not that much. Here's what it looks like right now. Kind of like a big old garbage bowl. All you do is stir this puppy up. A lot of people, when they make tacos, like to use the packaged, I think I have one. I use them once in a while, but I try not to, just because there's so much sodium in these. Nothing against these, because they taste really good. It's just personally I prefer to try to do it this way, so that I don't have to use something like this. But if you want to, definitely go ahead and incorporate this in there. This would make it even quicker. But personally, I like just to add some chili powder and the crushed tomatoes, diced tomatoes, and my peppers and onions, hot sauce, etc. And I think it gives it pretty much the same flavor. Now, the last thing that I'm going to add is just some traditional salsa. Again, I like a little bit of kick in my food, so I do a medium or a mild salsa. I don't do a hot. It's not everybody that I feed likes super spicy food like me. But I'll put probably about 1/4 of a cup in there. Stir that up real good. Alright. See how quick that was? Seriously, I'm already done. I mean, I'm like completely done making them. And you can serve them either with a tortilla shell, which I prefer to do a wheat tortilla shell, or you can serve them over a bed of lettuce if you're trying to watch your carbs. So I'll show you what both of those look like. Alright, so if we're going to do it on a tortilla shell, just go ahead and scoop it on in there. And then one of my other favorite things that I love to use for my Mexican food addiction is your better version, well, I guess you should say healthier version of sour cream, which is just a plain, completely plain Greek yogurt. It tastes pretty much exactly like sour cream. No joke. I mean, at least I think it does. So instead of doing a sour cream, which obviously is going to carry more calories and fat, you can go ahead and just put a little bit of that sour cream alternative, aka Greek yogurt, on top of there, and it is delicious. So I'll throw that on top. I'll add another spoonful of salsa, just because I love salsa. And if you want to be a little bit naughty and add cheese, you can. But that's the taco, okay? So pretty basic, pretty easy, and it's good for you. I mean, it's really, there's nothing in here that screams, ah, that's horrible. Next thing is what I personally like to do the most is make a taco salad. I'll just take a bed of greens, throw the meat on top, there you go. It's so good. I'm telling you, this is like my favorite, probably my favorite thing that I meal prep, because it's so quick and easy. But if you guys have any questions, let me know. I hope that that was easy to follow and easy to understand. And anything else you guys want to hear from me, just leave me a comment or send me a Facebook message. I hope that you guys are all ready for Christmas and having a good time with your families. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.